Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 118 of Brew Talk with Mr. Beer. My name is Robert Lewis. I will once again be your host for today's show. As always, we appreciate you guys take the time to tune in and watch our weekly videos. Hopefully you're enjoying them and learning something, and we'll just keep them going as long as we possibly can. If you want to reference our notes for this video, which you might want to because I'm going to have to reference them a lot, or any of our past videos, you can find those on our blog page, mrbeer.com/blog, or just go to the website and click on the blog button. That's probably easier than typing /blog, but either way, it works. So today's topic, like I said a second ago, I'm going to reference my notes a lot because it's a little above my knowledge base, but I thought it was something good that we could talk about and that I wrote out based on some stuff that Ashley has talked about in the past. But today's topic is what is diacetyl in your beer and how to kind of prevent it or how to fix it. Sometimes it's hard to fix, but you can make sure to do steps to prevent it. If you catch it early enough, you can also fix it. So it's kind of a double bonus episode. Basically, diacetyl is, well, first off, let's start off with what it tastes like. So if you ever gone to kind of sample your beer, or you poured a glass and you tasted your beer and you didn't taste it beforehand, but your beer has a slight like buttered popcorn taste to it, or kind of a weird buttered popcorn smell to it, that would be the chemical compound called diacetyl, which is a off flavor in your beer. So now how it gets into your beer is a little complicated, so I'm going to try and break this down, like I said, as simply as I can by referencing my notes here. But there are two primary ways you can get this in your beer. And the flavor is very noticeable. So if you're getting ready to bottle your beer, you can help prevent it if you catch it at that point. So that's one of the reasons, or a secondary reason why you should always taste your beer before you bottle it. Obviously, the first is to make sure it tastes flat and not sweet. And even if you're using a hydrometer, you should still taste it. But also, if you taste it and you get that kind of buttered popcorn taste, that is diacetyl in your beer, and you can fix it at that stage to make sure that doesn't go into your bottle. So we're going to kind of dive into that. So the two ways that this can happen into your beer is through slow or inefficient expression of intracellular reduction of naturally occurring diacetyl precursors, or by a bacterial infection, are the two main ways you can get it. We'll break down kind of what to do for the bacterial infection first, as that's a little simpler. But the best way basically to prevent a bacterial infection from diacetyl, just have good sanitizing practices. So, if you do get a diacetyl in your beer, regardless if you fix it or not, you're going to want to thoroughly clean your equipment afterwards. You want to keep track of those bottles and clean those, and you want to keep track of any brewing utensils you used, and also your fermenter. And I wouldn't, you don't want to just sanitize it, you want to clean it. So, I'd recommend getting our Craftmiser Oxygen Brewery Wash, which is what we use here, and it works really well. If you don't want to get that, you can use like unscented dish soap, works well. You just want to make sure that if you're getting that in there, that means that flavor or that compound is somewhere in there, so you want to make sure you clean it to help get rid of that. All right, so the second reason is a little more complicated, so I will do my best here to walk us through this process of how this can possibly happen. So there's a precursor to diacetyl, and that is actolactate. If you do not give it the proper time or conditions to be absorbed back into your beer, then you will get a few things. So that's kind of how you get diacetyl, is there's not enough time, or maybe the temperature is a little off, and that's how you can get that flavor in there. But if you catch it when you're tasting it, you can get rid of that. So if you go to bottle your beer, it tastes like buttered popcorn, or you smell the buttered popcorn smell, you should let your beer ferment for 2 more days, and you want to raise that temperature up by 2 or 3 degrees. Sometimes they call it, you've heard of like a diacetyl rest. That's what that is. It helps get rid of that compound. This can dramatically help reduce the amount of this compound in your beer, and then it can help get rid of that flavor. So, to make sure you're preventing this, you want to make sure you're keeping your brewing equipment clean. You want to make sure you have excellent sanitization practices. Make sure you're brewing at the proper temperature range that the brewing instructions follow. So whatever your brewing instructions say, depending on what refill or recipe you're brewing, on the Mr. Beer website is the best place to find those. That's the temp you want to be brewing at, and that's what we test at. That's what we recommend at. Anything potentially lower than that, you can run into some issues like diacetyl. But if you do a diacetyl rest, then you can get rid of that. If you have this taste in your bottles, so if you didn't catch this at the bottling stage, you can try to let them sit at room temp for a little longer and see if that helps. Sometimes that flavor can condition out, but Sometimes it just doesn't, just stuck in there. So if you can, suck it up and drink it, then just drink it. Don't waste it. Or if not, you can at least cook with it. But make sure, like I said, you clean those bottles afterwards and clean all your equipment afterwards. So just recap, make sure you're sanitizing and holding your proper brewing temp, and you all should be good. I mean, I've never personally had an issue with having this diacetyl compound in any of my beers, because we're just brewing what we're brewing here with Mr. Beer, so most of our stuff, we don't get that risk a lot, but it is a potential that can happen. And two, I've always been very clean with my processes and always follow the proper temperature. So as long as you're doing those things, you don't have a lot to worry about, but you just want to be careful. If you do get it and you do taste it in bottling, you can prevent that from getting or you can help that go away by doing what they call diacetyl arrest, by raising that temp up and letting it go for a little bit longer. It's going to wrap it up for today. Hopefully you guys were able to keep along, and hopefully it wasn't too confusing as I was running through what I was trying to say here. I think I read this like 12 times before we started to make sure that I had all the words right, had some of the knowledge kind of open my head so I wasn't reading verbatim. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like or a comment. We really appreciate that, or share it on whatever platforms you can share it in your Instagram stories, or share it as a post on Facebook or in your Facebook story. We appreciate that. If you want to watch any of our previous videos, just find those on YouTube. We're just at Mr.Beer. We came out with a new tasting video yesterday. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. We'll keep coming out with some more of those where we're going to be actually tasting our Mr.Beer recipes. Probably help give you guys a little bit of insight too on what they look like, what they taste like. It's going to help you decide what you want to brew for your next brew day. And if you want to learn more about Mr. Beer or just brewing with Mr. Beer, join our Facebook group, Mr. Beer's Brewing Society. You can just find that by searching Mr. Beer's Brewing Society on Facebook. That's going to wrap it up this week, and I will talk to you guys next week. Cheers.